Hello. Today's story is Harold and the Purple Crayon. And I wore some purple today to go with our book. Now we're going to do some activities when we're done reading the story. And if you would like to do the activities with me, go and see if you have a purple crayon. It doesn't have to be purple, but if you have purple, that's great. Also, grab some paper that you can draw on. And when we're done with our story, we're going to do an activity. Harold and the Purple Crayon. One evening, after thinking it over for some time, Harold decided to go for a walk in the moonlight. But there wasn't a moon, and Harold needed a moon for a walk in the moonlight. And he needed something to walk on. He made a long straight path so he wouldn't get lost. And he set off on his walk, taking his big purple crayon with him. But he didn't seem to be getting anywhere on the long straight path. So he left the path for a shortcut across a field, and the moon went with him. The shortcut led right to a place where Harold thought a forest ought to be. He didn't want to get lost in the woods, so he made a very small forest with just one tree in it. It turned out to be an apple tree. The apples would be very tasty, Harold thought, when they got red. So he put a frightening dragon under the tree to guard the apples. It was a terribly frightening dragon. It even frightened Harold, so he backed away. His hand holding the purple crayon shook. Suddenly he realized what was happening. But by then Harold was over his head in an ocean. He came up thinking fast, and in no time he was climbing aboard a trim little boat. He quickly set sail, and the moon sailed along with him. After he sailed long enough, Harold made land without much trouble. He stepped ashore on the beach, wondering where he was. The sandy beach reminded Harold of picnics, and the thought of picnics made him hungry. So he laid out a nice, simple picnic lunch. There was nothing but pie. But there were all 9 kinds of pie that Harold liked best. When Harold finished his picnic, there was quite a lot left. He hated to see so much pie go to waste. So Harold left a very hungry moose and a deserving porcupine to finish it. And off he went looking for a hill to climb to see where he was. Harold knew that the higher up he went, the further he could see, so he decided to make the hill into a mountain. If he went high enough, he thought he could see the window of his bedroom. He was tired, and he felt he ought to be going to bed. He hoped he could see his bedroom window from the top of the mountain. But as he looked down over the other side, he slipped, and there wasn't any other side of the mountain. He was falling in thin air. But luckily, he kept his wits in his purple crayon. He made a balloon, and he grabbed onto it. And he made a basket under the balloon, big enough to stand in. He had a fine view from the balloon, but he couldn't see his window. He couldn't even see a house. So he made a house with windows. And he landed the balloon on the grass in the front yard. None of the windows was his window. He tried to think where his window ought to be. He made some more windows. He made a big building full of windows. He made lots of buildings full of windows. He made a whole city full of windows. But none of the windows was his window. He couldn't think where it might be. He decided to ask a policeman. The policeman pointed the way. Harold was going that way anyway, but Harold thanked him. And he walked along with the moon, wishing he was in his room and in bed. Then suddenly Harold remembered. He remembered where his bedroom window was when there was a moon. It was always right around the moon. And then Harold made his bed. He got in and drew up the covers. The purple crayon dropped on the floor, and Harold dropped off to sleep. And that's the end of our story. Did you like that story? What was your favorite part of the story? I have to say, I think my favorite part is when he has a picnic with 9 kinds of pie. Do you like pie? What's your favorite pie? I wonder if we can think of 9 kinds of pie. Let's see. If you think of any, shout it out. Here we go. Apple pie, cherry pie, blueberry pie, pumpkin pie, lemon meringue pie, key lime pie, peanut butter pie, coconut cream pie. One more. How about pecan pie? Is one of those your favorite kind of pie? My favorite pie is homemade blueberry pie with fresh picked blueberries. All right, do you have your crayons? We're going to play a game. I'm going to use a marker for the game so that you can see what I'm drawing very clearly. We're going to play a guessing game. I'm going to start to draw a picture, and the first few are going to be pictures from the book. And as soon as you think you know what my picture is, shout it out. And if you want to draw with me, you can draw along while I draw. All right, are you ready? Here is our first picture. We're going to start by drawing a circle. So draw a circle on your paper. Circles go around and around. Any guess what I might be drawing? Next, we're going to draw 4 lines coming straight down from the bottom of the circle. It kind of looks like a spider from one side. You could only see 4 legs. The last thing we're going to draw is a square connected at the bottom of the 4 lines that we made coming out of the circle. All right, do you recognize this picture from our story? It's the balloon that Harold drew to catch when he was falling through thin air. All right, you can draw on the same piece of paper, or you can turn your paper over and get a new paper. Now we're going to make another drawing, and you can draw along with me. And guess what I'm drawing as soon as you think you know what it is. This is another thing from our story. We're going to start by drawing a line straight down. Then we're going to draw another line beside it, about 2 finger widths beside it, straight down. Next we're going to draw kind of a bumpy circle shape, almost like you might draw a cloud. Any guesses what we're making? This is the tree that Harold drew. Do you remember what he drew on the tree? It wasn't just a plain tree. It was an apple tree. So if you would like, you can draw small circles inside the outline of the tree. And there's our apple tree. All right, let's get our markers ready. We're gonna make another picture. This is one more picture from the book. Okay, we're gonna start with a line going side to side on the bottom of our paper. Draw 2 lines coming up at a little bit of an angle, and then connect the tops of those 2 lines. There you go. It almost looks like a pie plate. Speaking of pie, it's not a pie. We're gonna make a line that goes straight up. Any guesses yet? Finally, we're gonna make a box coming off one side of our line. It's the boat that Harold drew when he found himself sinking under the water. All right, I'm gonna make 2 more pictures for you. And these are pictures that are not in our book, and I want you to see if you can guess what they are. The first one's gonna start with a curved line that goes top to bottom. It almost looks like a letter C. Then we're gonna draw another one next to it and connect it. Now wait a second. That does look like something from our book. What was in the book that has this shape? It's a crescent shape. It was the moon. But I'm not drawing a moon. Let's keep drawing. We're gonna add a small rectangle at the top of our crescent and fill it in. We're gonna add a small square at the bottom point of our crescent and fill it in. And we're just gonna add a couple extra lines. What did I make? A banana. Sometimes the moon is in the same shape as a banana. All right, last picture. We're gonna start with a big circle. Now, I love starting a picture with a circle because if you draw a circle, you could turn that into anything. So let's see what I'm going to turn my circle into, and then if you want, you can turn your circle into something else. In the middle of my circle, I'm going to draw an upside down triangle. From the bottom of the triangle, we're going to make 2 curvy swooped lines. They almost look like smiles or like letter U's. Above the triangle, I'm going to draw 2 circles. Have you guessed what this might be yet? It's a kind of animal. Let's see what kind of animal we're making. Let's give our animal whiskers. We will draw 3 straight lines on each side of our triangle. The triangle is the nose. Now here's the cool thing about this animal. You could actually make it any animal you want by changing the kind of ears you give it. I was thinking I was going to make an animal with ears like this. What is that animal? It's a cat. But if you wanted to make a bunny, you could give it ears like this. I know some of you love bunnies, so we could give it tall, pointy ears. You could even draw little triangles on the inside and make it a bunny. Or you could give it floppy ears and make it like a dog. You could give it round ears like this and make it look like a bear. So there are all kinds of things you can make. So the last thing we're going to do is you can draw anything you want with your purple crayon and share it with someone you love. When you're done with the video, if you'd like, I sent over some tracing pages. We can practice tracing different lines and shapes. Use your purple crayon if you have one. If not, any crayon will work. Thank you so much for joining me today and listening to our story of Harold in the Purple Crayon. I hope you had fun. See you next time.